Look who we found live in Las Vegas.
Live in Las Vegas. I am here at the Odyssey Studio in Las Vegas.
And you look fantastic, by the way. You got you're rocking the jewelry. We can see a little bit of the we see colored nails. Yeah, you look like $1 million.
Just trying to stunting type of a situation. By the way, me and you are all three of us really are gonna talk about something that happened yesterday. I don't even know if I should divulge this, but I'm gonna divulge it.
Let's go.
We can save it for last. Let's get into what you guys have cooking.
Oh no, I need to hear this. What happened?
So, I don't know if you guys saw, but I was like right behind Doris Burke at the Summer League last night for game 1. And I was like super excited to see Paolo versus Jabari. And like also my man Caleb Houston came out and was just balling. Like
he did.
I was just looking at some stats and they're not the same player in terms of, this is going to be like low-key shade, of course, towards you accidentally. They're not the same player, but like if you look at their per 40s, Keegan Murray's freshman year versus Caleb Houston's freshman year, not super different. 19 versus, 21. So he looked great. He looked amazing. But anyway, so I sit down in the front, like middle row or whatever, and right behind me is your guy, Davion.
Okay.
And Davion and his crew, a couple of G League guys who I think got cut or waived from the Kings, are just literally cooking every single player that they're watching the entire time with viciousness. Like, the vicious rhetoric had no bounds. Like, when RJ Hampton got benched, they said a stench had left the building.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, you're talking about like next level, like just smack talking you can't even believe. And it went on the entire game. Like, I'm talking about there was no dead air. People would come up and give him daps, and he'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? Nice to see you. Great to see you. Don't even know who that guy is. I hope he never speaks to me again. Like,
oh, my goodness.
Amazing.
Like, overtime, Megan comes by, and, overtime, Megan has like 2 million TikTok followers, and some guy says, oh, yeah, she's got 2 million followers. And he goes, why?
That's a fair question.
It was just, it is a fair question, but it was just, and they kept this, like, the bet, they were going to bet him and his friend, like a friendly wager between Orlando and Houston. They were just taking, money line or just taking outright bets. And it was like, bet off, bet on, bet off, bet on. It's like, that's not how that goes. You can't do that. But it was like eye-opening. It was eye-opening. And he was like, yeah, there's not too many guys that can stop me. Like, it was just like, bruh, like, it was just something to behold, as knowing that I was going to go on this show, this lovely, esteemed show. I wouldn't leave. I held my pee for a long time.
Well, you can't leave there. You get up, someone takes that seat.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I don't know. What is you guys' experience with Davion in general? Like, is this like on brand? Is this off brand? Like,
Hammer, that's a better question for you.
Yeah, it's with the world of Zoom and podium press conferences not being in the locker room and stuff. We haven't got to see a ton of his personality. I know he's funny. He's not super comfortable with the media, and that's something that they're working on a lot with him. But it makes sense that he would be a bit of a trash talker, and that's hilarious. It used to be that we used to get to sit on the floor at the games, and we would hear all the craziness that would happen while you're watching a game, like, Matt Barnes calling out Jimmer Fredette and like all of like just wild stuff that you would hear that close to the floor. But we don't usually get to watch a game with the players, so I think it would be fun.
Yeah, it was an experience. I tell you what, it was an experience. He was like, oh, he had it in his mind. He had already made up he was going to Euro step as soon as he crossed half court. He had already decided. It didn't matter who was in his way. He was like, yeah, I don't know why he shot. That was so contested. 2K wouldn't even allow you to shoot that shot.
Throwing in 2K lines.
You and James are dropping some gems here today. Okay, so how did Davion's, once we get past Davion's trash talking through the entire games, Paolo actually, now that I think about your list, Paolo wasn't very high on the list of players that you wanted to see, was he?
That's because he's not intriguing at all to me. I already know he's dominant. I'm already sold.
Oh,
right?
okay. And did he reward that confidence last night for you?
Yeah, man. He is. I cannot express to you and anyone else that I can is that, like, there is no words for how big Paolo is in person. Like, he is. Like the analogy that I was talking to my friend about this with last night is like, you know, like the little army men, and like the army men are like this big, right? And then, so say there's like an army man that you take a photo of that's actually like this big, all the same proportions, but you can't really tell if you just take a photo, right? It just is the army man just like zoomed in, or what are we talking about? You need scale, and you need like to be like the depth perception of real life to really feel it. And it's like he's got all the proportions of a normal human fit man, but like 1.5x, and does all the things that normal 6'1" guy would do, but with like power and strength of someone who's like Charles Barkley size. It's incredible to watch in person. And I saw him the ACC tournament game or tournament in Barclays. When I saw him up close, I was just like, Jesus, you know? And it gave me that same feeling again when he walked through the breezeway. I was doing a hit with BetMGM tonight, and I was just like, there he goes again. I think his head could hit the ceiling, you know? And he impressed in terms of his ability to pass, his jab step moves. You can tell he's been working on that. He's got the mid-range game. He obviously can shoot from 30. But I think what you see in him is like Orlando's going to give him the ball. He's going to be a high usage player. Who cares that they have Cole Anthony? Who cares that they have Markelle Fultz? Like, who cares that they have a plethora of other guards that you may or may not know? Like, he's going to get the ball a lot, and he's going to facilitate and get guys involved. It's going to be really intriguing, I think, to watch. And on the flip side, because I would imagine you want to go there too, it's like, I'm not sure how much Jabari is going to get the ball in Houston. He was having a hard time getting the ball from Ty. You think Jalen Green is going to want to get Jabari the ball early? Like, he's going to have to be on the elbow like he was last night and demand the ball there instead of doing it like Paolo on the perimeter.
Not that this is a surprise, James, before you jump in, but I think you'll appreciate this. Chris Haynes just reported 2 years, $122 million for Dame Lillard. That extension is being signed. Dame Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers close to finalizing an agreement on a 2-year, $122 million extension.
Yeah, it's a little bit of cash. Hey, question, Ty, did he look like he leaned down at all? Because I know at the combine for a point guard, he posted like almost a 15% body fat, which was super high. I was just confused by that.
So he looks thin but not fit, if that makes sense. You know, like, and I hate to say it in comparison to like women, but like, you know that there's girls that they're lean and they look good in like a size 2 shorts, but like they don't lift or work out. Like their genetics are just, they're like a rail. I think that's kind of like Ty. So it doesn't surprise me that he's 15%. He just looked a little out there. He's 6'2", but he doesn't really look 6'2". He definitely looks, he just doesn't, to me, even though I like his passing ability, his shot's super flat, which I'm not super high on. He wasn't involved nearly as much, got into foul trouble. I think he'll get in foul trouble a lot as well. Don't think he's going to get a ton of playing time.
These like, it feels like Detroit and like our thing. You talk about must-watch league pass teams. Detroit, Oklahoma City, and even Houston. I think there are going to be points during the season where it's like, yo, this team is a lot of fun to watch. And then the next night they're going to lose by 47.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think OKC is the top of my list just because you're going to get Josh Giddey getting the ball to, and we know what he can do, getting the ball to Chet. And I loved watching Kenny Lofton Jr. just absolutely annihilate Chet, because that's the worst case scenario, right? Is somebody with that big of a body putting his caboose in all over Chet. I wonder though, if Chet could play. And the question, I guess, too, and I'll ask you guys both what you think, is does Chet have the lateral quickness to play 3-4 out on the perimeter? You know what I mean? Like be a perimeter defender versus having to go up against guys like Lofton. Or if it's a bad matchup and you end up having to like be on Embiid, like not be on Embiid and be on somebody else.
I feel like the plan, James, is going to be to pull him out to the perimeter and make him prove that he can guard outside of the key, outside of the box. And it's going to be up to Oklahoma City to figure out a way to keep him and switch and run some sort of defensive scheme. Because I do feel like if you look for him, they're not that hard to find. Like you pull Chet out to the perimeter, that tree could go timber. Like he's hit the ground a couple of times trying to get out there and guard around the line.
Yeah, but he's so smart in the pick and roll, and he's really a good defender. He's such a smart defender. I don't think he's going to have a lot of problems. I wonder, like your question, can he play the 3? I think that's probably like that would be really intriguing because he does have the mobility. I just don't know if he's quick enough.
Yeah, that's what I wonder too.
Yeah, like the lateral quickness. He's pretty quick laterally, but pretty quick to defend 4s. I think he's not going to have a problem defending 4s, and his closeout is crazy because he's I don't even know what his wingspan was 7'6", but he doesn't have that doesn't really capture because his chest is like this wide.
Yeah.
So his arms are so incredibly long. He's not like a big broad shoulder guy. So like if you haven't seen Taco Fall there, Taco Fall is like one of the biggest human beings you're ever going to see. Him and I think Aaron Gray was the other one that stood out as like one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen. But Chet is so narrow that he's got to have like his arm length would be really interesting to actually measure as opposed to some of the other tall guys. I think he can play the 4 like consistently, and he's probably going to play a ton of 5 for them. But I kind of look at when he got dominated by Kenny Lofton, it kind of reminded me of when DeJuan Blair used to just take like Hakeem Shabit to the shed and just like dominate him. You're like, how is that possible? You're so much bigger than him. And Blair would just like body him and what you said, get his caboose into him.
Interesting stuff. I didn't know this real quick. I didn't know that Chatty House thought that I was high on my last little rendezvous with you guys. I went back to the YouTube to clip something, and they were like, "Yeah, she got blazed beforehand." It was just a nap. I just want to let everyone know I'm not anti. It's your choice, but I took a nap.
That one, if you were, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
2, the Chatty House is an interesting place to live. Like that's just it's a world in it of itself. The number 1 player that you were looking forward to seeing was Shaedon Sharpe. Sorry. Thoughts and prayers, Trysta. You didn't really get that opportunity last night, but
probably won't.
Yeah, James and I were talking about that earlier. Like, it doesn't take much to get yanked from Summer League. Shoulder injury, all right, buddy, you're done. And it's of all of the players probably in the entire draft, certainly for you, being a Portland fan, you want to see Shaedon Sharpe. But I think NBA fans were like, it's the one player we literally have nothing on. Can we see this kid play? And very quickly it was, nope, sure can't.
I think I saw one package, like one move. Baseline. It was a nice one. It was it was a jab, turnaround, fade, bottoms, and I was like, "Ooh, Kobe!" And then he was.
You
gone.
didn't say nice package, but that's not what you said.
No.
Go ahead.
No, it's customary when someone turns.
Pause.
That's the line. Pause. But it is customary to yell Kobe anytime someone does a turnaround.
And then he was just gone. never to return again. And I do think it was
That's why Portland announced the extension today. They're like, hey, we had a bad night last night. Let's announce the Dame Lillard extension
By
today.
the way, did you guys see, and I'm going to talk about this today on the podcast, but New York Post, who we've discussed, cares absolutely zero about New York basketball, wrote a piece, a hit piece, on Jody Allen, Portland Trailblazers onswer. New York Post, accusing her of smuggling giraffe bones from Botswana and Antarctica, and saying that like Larry Miller quotes, who used to be the president of basketball operations for the Blazers and also worked for Jordan Brand for a long time. He was quoted as saying she's creating a toxic work environment, and that Paul Allen's former roommate wants to hold on to the team as long as he can, and that he's running the show, and that she's also sexually harassed multiple. This is just all in the article. It's not my opinion. Sexually harassed multiple bodyguards, buying them European cut boxer briefs, asking for fashion shows. This is all in a 5,000 word piece by New York Post that you can find right now. It came out today from an anonymous author. Only written 2 articles for the Post. One was a PR spin job on Brian Williams, noted journalist / liar, about when he was saying he was in the helicopters at war and that whole thing. So it was one piece of that, and then this one. And I thought to myself, a la Brian Windhorst, why would they do that? And all I could think of is Phil Knight is just a gangster. He wants that team, and he wants it now. Came out with that memo saying she's not selling the team for 10 to 20 years, which is wild. And this New York Post piece comes out the next day.
But you know what's really funny about it to me is the part that got clipped and pushed out on the sports notification websites.
She ghosted Damian Lillard.
That's the one. That's of all of that stuff. No mention of giraffe bones. No.
That's like the least interesting thing to me. I was like, literally, if you get on your Google machine, Chatty House, you guys go back. If you Google 3 words, smuggle giraffe bones, because I wanted to know what you would do that for. The only thing that comes up is Paul Allen and Jody Allen. That's the only thing.
That's amazing.
There's no one in the history of life has ever been accused of smuggling giraffe bones except for them. 72 pounds of giraffe bones were found and destroyed.
It is never, ever boring when you join us. Go enjoy Summer League, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Do you guys want any recon? Is there a player between now and then? Both of you guys can choose one. I will get up close footage, and I will give you my in-person TK scouting report.
Hammer, any recon?
Yeah, Jaden Hardy.
All right.
Oh,
the guy that the Kings drafted and then sold the pick.
Thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Jaden Hardy. And go watch Keegan Murray so you can appreciate him a little bit.
I will. I'll watch that. I'll let you guys know. Benedict Mathurin will be in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's tonight, right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Today for us West Coasters.
Yeah, we are West Coasters. I said tonight when I clearly said 3 o'clock earlier. Well, good stuff. We'll be following the feed. We appreciate you, homie.
Talk to you.